all great businesses solve great problems. First, I hired a group in the Philippines that just didn't work out. And then somehow I hired a group in Egypt and that was worse.
I have a lot of foreign people. The hardest hurdle there too is they don't know what it
Experience.
looks like. They don't know what they're
Yeah.
negotiating. Are you paying them the whole time, or is there some sort of commission or carrot to get the grab?
And I pay 100% of everything. Everybody pays 60% during training. I pay 100% because that's my X factor to recruit top talent here. Don't go work there, bro. I'll pay you. That's how much I believe in you.
What, I guess, are you using all the forms of marketing, or what's your favorite?
Here
What
is
are you,
strictly outbound cold, outbound calling, like period. That's our North Star.
you said PPCs, you're a monster. How are you getting an edge on that? What's up, man?
What's up, killer? Come
How are
on.
you?
I'm doing fantastic and amazing.
Yeah, good to see you.
Fucking great to meet you, man. Shit,
Hell
let me.
yeah. Appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you, man. My honor.
Who are you? What do you do? All that good stuff.
All right, cool, man. So, number one, thanks for giving me the opportunity to come on here and chat with you, brother. It means a lot. For me, I'm new to the industry, Travis. So, like, I've only been in the REI space for the past 4 years, and everything behind me came from kind of accident. Like, I have the entrepreneurial spirit and hustle, but I didn't come here to try to create this big monster. I just came here to solve a problem I had for myself.
Yeah, man. How'd that start?
You know what, dude? I've made all my money selling leads to attorneys in my life, and that's a super dope industry. The problem is
Yeah.
it's got like regulatory and compliance issues for the attorneys, not me. I'm good, but attorneys, it's not really, it's frowned upon to some degree that they're getting leads from an outside source because they're not supposed to be like ambulance chasing. So
Yeah.
after a couple of years of doing that and really making bank, that ended up going to its side. And my buddy was like, dude, you should take this machine you got and do this wholesaling thing. I said, bro, what's fucking wholesaling? I don't know. And he explained it to me and I was like, it reminded me of like the mercantile exchange or where somebody had a piece of paper and I didn't really like own that paper, but I could just sell that paper for more. And it blew my mind. And so I was like, dude, I'll take a stab at it because I realized kind of people didn't have a lot of sales skills with love in the industry. And so I said,
Yeah.
man, I think I can come in here and make a splash.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. And all that behind you, how many desks and offices, how many people you have?
So we have space for about 200. We're currently at about like 165. And that's all exclusive real estate from primarily just qualifiers. Plus, we have a TC department, dispo, buyer's agents, have a full university over here with 18 students. That's for education on new people here, but 100% all distressed real estate related, man.
Bro, that is huge. So
Yeah.
how does that work? Like, how'd you scale to 200 seats and all that?
Dude, there's an old quote that I had heard way back in my entrepreneurial career. It was something like, all great businesses solve great problems.
Yeah.
And my whole problem was, dude, I still have closers in Orlando. And when I was in Orlando, I was like, all right, cool. I really want to do more than just PPC because PPC is cool, but it's just one marketing channel. Like I wanted to get good in mail and I want to get good in TV and I want to get good and see some other things. And when I tried to bolt on cold calling, I couldn't justify giving those leads to my closers because they were just shit. And I couldn't
Yeah.
justify paying US closer salaries to generate outbound leads. I hired a group in the Philippines and that just didn't work out. And then somehow I hired a group in Egypt and that was worse. And I ended up finding a guy on some chat room in Cali, Colombia. And he was cool. He's like, they're on the same time zone, bro. And he was cool. I flew down and met him at his office, but he was just a kid. And so after
Yeah.
4 or 5 months working and he couldn't successfully scale, I turned to my wife. I was like, how do you feel about moving out of the country with the kids? Can I talk? Can I close you on leaving the country? And I did. And we came down here to we'll be down for 6 months. That's it. I'll be back in 6 months. And then, dude, I'm now almost 5 years here raising my kids and just loving life because I opened it for myself, but then people heard about it. They're like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm doing this thing. And so I am trying to solve the same problem for myself as I did for other people.
That's cool. So you're in Colombia.
Yeah, I'm in Colombia, South America. This whole place behind me. Yeah, I'm here in Colombia full time.
Bro, that's badass. So if you don't mind me asking, how does pay structure compare to like Americans in Colombia?
It's really closer to half. It's not. So the problem is the actual pay structure is probably closer to 25%. But if you
Yeah.
pay legitimately, the government's down here, even though this one is an independent and it's quote unquote conservative, it still has a socialist undertone. And so
Yeah.
the employers here pay so much. So the net to the agent is probably about a quarter of what's in the States, but I also pay their pensions and I pay all their benefits and insurances. And so they get a lot here by working for a legit company. And that was my X factor when I came in. I was like, I'm not going to pay anybody under the table. I'm going to come here. I'm going to set up shop. I'll be the first white guy to come in town to not pay him on credit cards and actually have it
Yeah.
good and have family members come over for the Christmas parties and stuff. And so that was a strategy. I said, I just don't want to be the scumbag who comes into town like everybody else does, rapes and pillages, and then bounces. I set up a real company with like real benefits, and kids are buying houses now and buying motos and cars, and it's dope.
Bro, that's freaking sick. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you, bro.
Congrats on doing that. Closers, in my experience, are the hardest breed, right? All the other stuff, it's we can do it, right? You could pick somebody and train them, but like closers, how the hell are you breeding closers down there?
I'm not. And so if you play back, it said my closers are still in Orlando.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. And I'm there. It's on the horizon, but I've tried it a couple of times and it just hasn't gone the way it needed to be to compete them. Because if
Yeah,
all of a sudden you're doing half and I can save half on salary, then it's the same thing, but then people are getting a bad experience.
yeah,
But what we've done now is we've been around long enough that people who are monster qualifiers, it's still a transition.
yeah.
It's still a completely different beast, but they have enough experience now that there's a couple of guys that I have my eyes on to move into it. And what I do is I move them into closing for my product. So people are filling out forms all the time. And I'm like, hey, listen, let's go over here. Let's coach you on this type of sales versus lead generation. And then as you graduate from there, you can go into other products.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I thought you were saying you were still running a shop in Orlando, but
I
that's
am.
where,
No,
yeah,
no,
but that's your closing everything with
exactly.
those. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So all the fulfillment, the TC, the dispo, everything's here. Everything except for the closers and the director sale and my partner are there in Orlando. And so they run that and the Airbnbs and the pad splits and all the other small little things that we got going on. And this is the machine that feeds that entity up there. But like you said, it's really tough to do closers anywhere, let
yeah,
alone in a developing country, because first off, most people have customer service background. And if they have customer service background, you want somebody with sales skills, sales talent, and who's used to that type of high ticket closing. And taking somebody from getting beat up on the phone because they used to work at Uber Eats and customer service for 7 years, and they've always been like, yes, sir. Okay. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. And giving them phone confidence to close. It's a journey.
yeah, big time. Also, I found that with I have a lot of foreign people that work for a lot of
Sure.
VAs. I have closers that are VAs. I have all sorts of, the hardest hurdle there too is they haven't experienced it. The culture's so different. They haven't bought the home for the most
Hmm.
part, or the type of home. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know what they're
Yeah.
negotiating outside of stateside.
But you know what I think is, I was saying this to somebody the other day. They said, Scott, so we're going to try this again, but what are the key factors? And I talked about the kind of ephemeral stuff like, all right, we're much more established, new office, better training, better leaders, better managers. I have a lot more confidence in it. But the other unexpected thing was novations. I'm
Yep.
just be honest. Novations allow you to get less of a discount and still make a spread. And
Yep.
so that is a now exit strategy that didn't exist before that allows people with a little bit less sales acumen, but can still build great rapport and they can still do great discovery and they can still ask for a deal who may not be able to battle somebody and just call, sir, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. Like they don't need to have to necessarily have the whole lion
Yeah.
bite. With Novation, it gives us a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, man. It's funny you say that because my VAs, all they know is the Novation term. And they think a regular purchase and sales of Novation. They're like, hey, are we using a seller finance
Uh,
contract or are we using a Novation contract?
no shit.
That's that's all they
Yes,
know. Because I give them a
exactly.
minimum, the Novation formula. And I'm like, if you
Uh-huh.
can get less than that, we're straight.
Exactly.
They don't
Yes.
know the difference, but it's tough, dude. And like you said,
Yeah.
qualifiers. How are you? Like, what are your, and thanks for just sharing your story,
Yeah.
sharing like all this knowledge for people that listen. It really
Thank you,
helps
brother.
everybody out. I like being an open book.
Me
And
too.
your qualifiers, how are you? What kind of guidelines do you give them?
You would tell me, Scott, stop everything you're doing. Take this exact same thing that you're training these guys on. Go move to Phoenix, Arizona, and start a course. It
Yeah.
is so legit and dialed in. So first, I have a full on classroom here with the little seats with the little desks on each seat, and it's about 21 days classroom, 7 days shadowing. So I'm a full month before they actually hit the phones. Then they go on one of my campaigns. After they graduate from my campaign, they can go on a client's campaign. So it's about a 60-day sprint, and we have a lot of attrition throughout. But our training is almost everything that you articulated already, which was like, hey, I got to teach them real estate 101. Let's take the time to teach them all the terminology that they've never heard before, like yard sign. Because
Yeah.
in developing countries, most people don't have yards, they have apartment windows. And so when you're going to rent something here, you just put something in an apartment window. So, like, you got to teach them yard signs or studs. And there's just these words that they've all learned English, but they've never heard whatever a soffit before. They've never heard of us. Somebody says, "Oh yeah, no, my soffit broke." They're like, "Huh?" So we have to teach them all these words and test accordingly. And so we have a dedicated teacher in here. And I think that teaching, the first week is pretty much real estate 101. Then it's sales fundamentals. Then it's call calibrations. Then they're on the phones. Then we come back and we call calibrate those. And every night there's a homework assignment where they're having to either drop a recording in or do whatever. We have the most gangster script and rebuttals on the top of all of these monitors. You can see me behind me, this side here. You see these red pieces of paper. That's all like the 20 objections they'll ever hear on the phone. Then there's the power words that they should be using on the phone, like story. So tell me the story about the condition of your property. And then all probing questions that they just sprinkle in throughout their script as well as they come up with, making sure they're asking really good sales strategic type conversation questions. And that's what we do, man. We just keep on them and give them confidence and then pay them well. And we reward success, but we have a high accountability here,
Yeah.
extreme accountability here.
Yeah, that's cool, man. They're not revenue producing for like months.
Yeah,
Are you paying them the whole time, or is there some sort of like commission or some sort of carrot that they get to grab?
it's a great question. I pay 100% of everything. And I'm the only call center that I know of that doesn't pay less during training. Everybody pays 60% during training. I pay 100% because that's my X factor to recruit top talent here. Don't go work there, bro. I'll pay. That's how much I believe in you. So I
Yeah,
take a lot of time to pre screen people. But as these people are in this class, like day 2, day 3, 1 or 2 people are gone. Like somebody didn't do their homework last night, the night before. I said, okay, let me see what was the quality of the previous 2 nights. It was dog crap. I said, just get rid of him tomorrow. He's got to go. Like he's either
yeah,
in it as a dream team member or he's not. But as they're getting good, depending on where I need to be based on new enrollments, I'm like, okay, so there's going to be 7 good out of here. Let me go find my 4 underperformers over here. And so I'm always just trying to replace and renew like any good sports team would do. It's, hey, the underperformers, it's business. It's not a family. Let's get rid of
yeah.
these people here. Let's bring in the new breeds. Let's give, sometimes it's attitude check. But everybody knows on my floor when they see a new class come in, which is once a month, it's okay. Hey, listen, the bottom of the track is going to get cut.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Bro, that's awesome. I guess, are you using all the forms of marketing, or what's your favorite? What are y'all really honing in
So
on?
what I do here is strictly outbound cold, outbound calling, like period. That's our North Star. I own a data company too. And so because I was just trying to figure out the data side and I said, I'll just go ahead and pay. There's only 2 main core data providers out there. So I'm on one of those big monthly contracts, but I own every
Yeah.
single record in the United States. And so we pass back our dialer data. But so that's our product. But our core competency is outbound cold calling here. For my investment office, my wholesalers or my closers in Orlando, we do both PPC, which I really feel like I'm a monster at, PPC and obviously cold call because I own the cold call company. But that's our 2
Yeah.
main channels right now.
Okay, cool. And you said PPC's your monster. How are you getting an edge on that? Because
Yeah, I'll tell you, and everybody else would be like, if you're not doing this, you'd be like, ah, damn, this is exactly what I should be doing. It'll probably be the most value add that I give. So I made all my money by starting my first agency, like I said, working with attorneys and really driving traffic. And a guy that changed my life, his name's Micah Dada. And I don't know, maybe 30 something. And we're walking around a lake, and he's one of those laptop lifestyle guys. He's always in Ibiza. He's always here. And we were buddies, and he was cooler than I was. And I was still in a high rise, but he was jet setting.
yeah,
And I don't know, this is probably maybe 12 years ago now, but he was explaining to me like how AdWords works. And he was like, man, like you can go toe to toe with Coca-Cola right now. And he was explaining how just that concept. Oh, I can advertise like it's homogenized. I can spend for that $140 click, $140. I can afford that or whatever it may be. So then what I started doing, I said, okay, let me think about a funnel. Now, I'd been in other industries where we had high cancellation rates and you had high problem rates. And what I always realized is that everybody after a sale goes home and they say, is this product a scam? And so if I just brought whatever, and then I said, okay, this industry, real estate, they're not really doing that after they sign. They're doing it when these wholesalers who are so weak, they just send out contracts. They never get them signed. That's
yeah,
when they're typing in is ABC Realty or ABC Realty complaints. So what I would do is I would go scour all the major players, brand names, and I would buy their domains on the AdWords, and I wouldn't purport myself to be them. I'd just be like, best cash offer Orlando, best cash offer wherever we were targeting, because I wanted to get that lowest funnel. And so I just made sure that, hey, if somebody typed in my company name, I was in first position. But if somebody typed in anybody else, not just their names, but their names plus reviews, their name plus complaints, their name plus scams, their website,
Yeah.
I would even have my team fill out the form on their website just to capture the outbound number that they would call me back with, so that I could then buy their phone number. So when they called somebody else, it popped up on their phone and they said, oh, who's this number? And they Google it and then they find me and they say, hey, did I miss a call from you? I don't see you in the system here, man, but let me just pull up your house and blah, blah, blah. So we went
Yeah.
hard on competitor targeting, and then just at really good long tail keywords that makes sense for the wholesale distressed property space.
Man, that's freaking cool. What about any PPL? Y'all been any big into that?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I want to say this the right way. I haven't, but they've all reached out to me, and they all have. I shouldn't say all. The bulk of them have reached out to me, and they'll be like, "Hey, dude, we got all these leads that we can't sell.
Yeah.
So here's this. You guys seem to be having your shit together. You want to bang on them and do a rev share?" So I've never bought them on the front end, but I've had to pay out rips on the back end. So I
Yeah.
speak highly of that model. I love that model. I know that there's a lot of players in the game, but I think it's a great way. My only beef with the PPL industry is not the PPL, but it's the kids who buy it, because they begin to think like lottery tickets. They're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just going to buy this one lead and I'm going to hit the lotteries. Bro, that's not a business. It's
Yeah.
just not what you need to do. You need to spend, and if you're going to buy it lead by lead, okay, but set a budget. Here's $4,000. What's my cost per lead in my market? Go to a RIA, talk to another wholesaler. Hey, what's your cost per lead here in Orlando? Oh, 6,500. My budget better be 6,500 minimum.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go spend 6,500 with this PPL vendor, and I'm going to print out a deal. And unless I do that, then I can't say that's a bad vendor. So that's my head.
Yeah, I have mixed emotions about PPL. I'm not a huge fan. For one, exactly what you said. I think it's hyped up a lot. There's a lot of influencing behind it because there's a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
rips on the back end. And for two, I think I'm a decent closer. It's like my wiring.
Yes.
And bro, a lot of them are recycled. Like,
That's what I've heard. And I'm only getting them, maybe I'm getting them while they're recycled fresh to you. I don't know, but I can just tell you, these guys go to players like me and they're like, here's a
yeah.
big file from people. And typically they are years old.
Yeah, it's crazy because I used to have a business model. I recently shut it down where I didn't pay for marketing for ever. I was closing everybody else's leads. I was
Dope.
doing 60/40, but I was like, damn, eventually I'm like, I don't want to give up that.
Yeah.
I'm bringing too much to the table. But it
Yeah.
was cool because I wasn't spending marketing. However, they're all doing PPL. So I get a big over. I have 10 partners. They're spending
Yeah.
whatever, tens of thousands of dollars on
Yeah.
leads. I use go high level. It tells you when there's duplicate leads. All of them on their PPL were duplicate from
Oh
big
shit.
companies. So I get this
Wow.
high level overview and there's
Yeah.
like recycling going on like crazy. And I approach some companies and they're like, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, look,
No.
and it's crazy, dude. It just makes you sick because it's not cool.
It's not cool. It's definitely not cool. I know that some of them show you that it's been sold multiple times, and so you're only paying 7 cents for it. But I think with anything, you get what you pay for. But the whole point to me is if you're doing that, it's because you don't have the capacity or the capital to have your own PPC. And
Exactly.
that's really what it should be. Is, hey, I'm gonna go through this trenches. I might have to have some ugly leads. I'm gonna be the best of the 7 people they sold this lead to, and I'm gonna get my deal. But then I have to set up my own campaign, just
Yep.
because you never know. That guy all of a sudden goes on vacation and never comes back. That guy all of a sudden shuts down, or merchant shuts down. Like you just never know what can happen. But I still think what it did is I saw it keep people in the death, what is it called? Death rattle, longer than it should have been, because they
Yeah.
didn't have enough money as the hedge fund closed down. All their marketing channels started collapsing. And normally they would have gone out of business, but they still had a bunch of $100 increments. And they
Yeah.
would just stay in the game, just playing these lottery tickets. I would scratch, it's going to win. And sometimes they'd win, but then it would just prolong their death by 2 or 3 months. And so I watched that in this industry when that really sprung off.
Yeah. My favorite's mail, man. I love mail.
I love mail as well, too.
It's pricey, right? But the return's nuts. So, like, I took over one of our partners that I had their mailing campaign in East Texas because it was cheap and their return was insane. They just didn't want to do it anymore. So I
Yeah.
took it over. Dude, legit, I think they're only spending like 3 Gs a month. And they were like, oh, we don't want to do it, which is cheap for the
Yeah.
return they were getting.
Yeah.
And we took it over this month, and I think we got 4 contracts for
Yeah. I
three
love it.
grand. It's
Yeah.
insane because the
Yeah.
intent it's always the intent of the lead. And if they call you, They want to sell. You're not
Yeah.
calling them. I freaking love it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it too. What's really strange though, it's like what you said is like these people will get frustrated on a marketing expense. And mail can sometimes you can have a bad batch and all of a sudden your CPL goes to the ceiling. But it's still, it's like you want to make $10,000 or $100,000, excuse me, you're gonna have to be spending tens. Like it's just
Right.
you got to be in there to weather. But yeah, I'm a big fan of mail, man. I'm a big fan of whatever you do, just pick up the phone when they call. Just fucking
Hell
pick
yeah.
up the phone.
Are you taking stuff down too now that you got all this deal flow and stuff?
Not as much this year. We just took one down, put it in a land trust. I signed the documents on the land trust last night. It was a small little shit property too. Yeah, we're taking some down, but nothing like we were doing the year before and the year before. We're novating definitely more this year than we were, but still our volume, full disclosure, is down year over year. Our volume is just down. And so,
That's everybody. That's
yeah,
everybody. I don't care who everybody's like, oh, it's the best ever. Hell no.
yeah.
It's a tough industry. If you're making it, you're a freaking closer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's helped the people who have the capacity to stay be stronger at the hill because there's less people around. A gentleman I was speaking to yesterday, and I have some really, my avatar is a high avatar, but I had a guy yesterday. He's like, dude, right now my TV spend a month alone is 120. And that's exactly the guy I want to be working with, is where just one of his channels is 120,000 a month because his cost per deal is probably 15 to $18,000. But he's got a mechanism in place where all of his deals are 40 to $60,000 spreads because he's taking them down and he's got his own construction team and he's still 3x in his money and his life is good because he's spending 100 and he's netting 200 and that's good for him. And now he
Yeah.
can be able to dip and dive into other channels. So yeah, there's the players are still for sure eating, and it's taken a lot of the riffraff ish out of the way. But
Yeah.
just for the listeners, I'll say I don't know why because I can't put it into the market or not. But it's been more enjoyable the last 4 months being on the phone. I'm not going to use the word easier because I won't let them use that in this office. It's been more enjoyable the last 4 months on the phone than it was that 6 months before, talking to people who I think have just finally accepted, like, I don't need to wait because the rates are never going to get any better. So if I was ever
Yeah.
going to move, I'm just going to go now. So we've seen our dials to lead ratio pick up incrementally every single month, heading back in the right direction by far. And I think it's just people stopped waiting and said, if I'm going to go, I'm just going to have to eat the new interest rates.
Yeah. I have a really high level mentor, and he's, bro, your ass got to get back on the phone. We're looking at stuff, and I have, and crushing it. Like, I think it's easier right now just because
Yeah.
the experience level,
Yes.
my team was struggling,
Mhm.
right? It's just more training involved and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, we've been taking the only single family we take down anymore if they're like 0% deals. Like we just took one down
Mm.
today. And
Good for
I,
you,
I
bro.
I freaking love it. And my model with that is because I got to pay the team, I got to pay all the stuff. So I don't take them
Yeah.
down 100%. I'll take a rip. I'll be like, hey, give me 20 G's and I'm gonna keep 50%,
Yeah.
whatever. And then
Smart.
yeah, we got a low ass note payment and then whatever. It's a long
I
term
love
play.
that model. I've never heard
Yeah.
that. That's great.
Yeah. So we do a
That's
lot
great.
of that. A big, like a real big proponent of that is when people don't pay their notes they already have. If I get
Mm.
it, like the dude I got on the phone today, it was a 4 minute close, not because of me. It was just a
Yeah.
situation he was in, and I heard it. And I try to tell the team to recognize this. He's like, hey, I haven't been paid for 4 months. I owner finance this thing to this lady. I rehabbed it completely. I was like, cool, what were your terms? He's like, 120 purchase. The thing's worth 150. No big
Yeah.
deal.
Sure.
But 600 a month, 5 grand down. I was like, I'll just do that. And he's like, okay, cool. Like
Gangster.
easiest thing, right?
I love
But
that.
that mobile home parks are really low hanging fruit right now.
It's my business partner. When we started out, we were all mobile home parks and
Yeah.
we locked a nice one up and that's like sat, but then we moved into self storage. And so we've locked up a couple of self storage facilities since then, an office park, but that self storage where it's just bullshit building there that you can use for a office space for to lease out. And it's been cool. But even that, like we've just gotten so much more reserved with all the offers
Yeah.
that we're making on that side right now. But it's
Yeah.
still, it's, I love the space because I see how just the sales skills, the operational skills, just even mindset stuff. It's really easy. Kent Clothier, somebody I consider a friend and somebody I look up to. He always talks about one thing you can count on is the mediocrity of your competition. And I know it's a slang that people say, but it's really true here. Like you don't have to do much to be in the top 10% of this industry.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
crazy.
You just got to get it. Yeah. Bobby coaches me.
Nice.
Yeah. That dude's a G.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I appreciate the hell out of you coming on here. Where can people find you at?
Dude, at Instagram, at Lamassu Leads, Lamassu Leads, at Lamassu Leads. And I try to be, because I think what we've done doesn't exist or hasn't existed before in this industry. And I just want to be super authentic with people. I want them to see behind the scenes. I want them to see what we're doing in training. I don't have a course to sell you. I got literally, I just talk shit to talk shit. I enjoy what I do. This is every day I come in here, it's like riding a jet ski. This is what I like to do for fun. I don't need to come in here. We have a great team, but I fucking it's become an addiction for me over the years, and I'm really excited about this industry, and I like helping guys and gals out. They'll send me I had to talk to a dude today in Philadelphia. He needed help with data, and so he just DM'd me, and then we hopped on the call real quick, and I just talked to him about what data I saw was working up in the PA market. So, anyways,
If I'm ever down your way, I'll give you a shout too. I plan on it sometime or another.
it's a beautiful country. I'm not in the like popular touristy place because like I
Yeah.
have a wife and two kids, so I don't need to be there. But I'm in this other place in the mountains, and it's so gorgeous, and the people here are so good, and it's a really cool experience, man. So I'm very blessed that you gave me the opportunity to come on here and chat with you, brother. I've been following you. I was like, man, this guy's diesel. I knew you were gonna come on here with no guns ablazing on me. I said, shit, I should have done some push-ups before I got on here first.
Bro, I don't own many shirts with sleeves. It's just how I roll. I'm in flip-flops most days. I
Uh,
can't do it, bro.
yeah, man. I know. I know. All right, cool, man, dude. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Keep kicking ass, brother.
I will, man. You too. Thanks, brother.